And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Got another episode of Doing All Right here. We breaking down some players. Bryan, I really like the fact that we don't have to wrestle around with topics too much on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like we got three players we're gonna talk about. We got 4 players we're gonna talk about. I like the days where we just get to come in and just talk about dudes. Maybe on the draft show one day we'll probably like pick up on some of that. You know, just pick some names and just discuss them, because it always branches off into, you know, where we rank those guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the other day, did you get my vibe of coming in right off the jump? I didn't even let Kyle Yeomans get into introducing people. I started asking questions about the defensive line.
About the D-line, yeah.
You know, I'm like, because and again, Kyle does a tremendous job. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I ran that show, it was like, it was the attitude of, hey, we're doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to, hey, I'm Bryan Broaddus, and this, you know, everybody knows who everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, you watch that show.
You want to get this thing sorted out right now.
I want to get it going. I don't have time for pleasantries and hey, what did you watch the Mavs game? You know,
sure.
Because if you don't put that thing right on the track and have it go, people, you know, I don't have a lot of time, and I want it. If you said you have 3 hours to do this, okay, hey, Voch, how you doing? You basically got 55 minutes.
Yeah, you wanted to jump right into the D-line stuff.
I just did not want Kyle to like go all over the road here when I knew, like, man, I want to talk about these defensive linemen.
Hell yeah.
And we did, and I thought it was a really good show. And we'll do it again tomorrow, because you'll jump in there before he gets done introducing.
Well, that was a mistake. Bobby had to leave, and I was excited to ask Bobby about those players. I didn't do that on purpose at all. But But Brad, we got 3 players today. We got Willie Lampkin, the guard from North Carolina. We have Oluwafemi Oladejo, the edge from UCLA, and Ahmed Hassanin, the edge from Boise. Go ahead, Bryan. Rank them for me.
The way that you've never seen a player like Lampkin. You've never seen one of those.
No.
But what you did see was a football playing dude.
Sure did.
You were going to have him. I'm going to say you were going to have UCLA first, Lampkin second, Boise third.
Bryan, you're really getting good at your job here.
Yeah.
And 1 and 2 were close.
Yeah.
Oladejo and Lampkin were really close to me. I like both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hassanin is fine, but he's gonna fit in that group of guys that we always bring up.
He's always it's gonna be that group of guys, that like they're gonna play well, they're gonna play hard, they're kind of limited in what they can do, but they're gonna get drafted and they're probably gonna play 10 years.
But damn was I excited about these 2 4s and these 5s. And I think I'm kind of conflicted about where to put Lampkin for real, because it's not a lot of guards here.
No, it's not. It's not.
Let's go ahead and get into it, Bryan.
Okay, can I do something real quick?
Hell yeah!
If we could do Lampkin first,
yeah, man.
And I want to do this because I talked to a buddy of mine who's in the league, and I didn't. And it's not this guy scouts for one of the teams. He's one of my longtime friends, and I asked him about Lampkin. I asked him because you're dealing with a guy that's 5'10", 275 pounds playing guard. And I asked this guy from this team, I said, tell me about, I go, what do you do with Willie Lampkin? This guy texts me back. He goes, I want him. Give him a number in the 50s first. Try him at guard. Try him at center. If it doesn't work out, make him the next Pat Ricard, the fullback from the Ravens. The kid's a winner. He will find a way. And I said, I said, this is amazing. I go, I thought this kid, remember Mark Stepnowski from the Cowboys back in the day? Mark was a taller guy.
I was there, yeah.
But he was 265 pounds.
Mhm.
He was he's a 265 pound guy, but a tremendous player at center.
Sure.
And I thought Mark Stepnowski, and my guy said, well, he was thinking more. He goes, this guy's 5'10", closer to Shaq Mason. He was thinking about the weight more than he was the height.
Yeah.
Shaq Mason not being. And he goes, I've talked to this kid. He actually prefers to play guard, but he'll play anywhere. So if you got him, he's got to be a center. He's going to be okay. I'm interested to hear. I've asked. Mike Lombardi is a buddy of mine he's the general manager now at North Carolina, University of North Carolina. And I asked Mike, and I said, Mike, tell me about Willie. He hasn't gotten back to me. I go, where do you play this guy? Because I know Mike's looked at his film. I know Mike's been around him. I just want to know what Mike, being a former NFL general manager, where would you play this guy? Because this is rare of a player, because we haven't seen this height and this weight.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it play at a level like we watched this tape here recently. And I'm interested once again to see what you say about this player.
What you got down for his weight, Bryan?
I got 275. I think that's what he was at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
It's somewhere fluctuated between 270 and 275. I think was where my guy, my scout buddy, my scout buddy gave me the measurements of 5'10", 275.
Okay. Bryan, I think guard and center is really good for him.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams are probably going to try center because he's a little shorter.
Yeah.
I think guard is fine though, Bryan. I don't really think that he got pushed around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Here and there maybe, but that's what the fights are. That's just these fights that we fight.
Yeah.
I don't think he got pushed around much. Probably because he got a low center of gravity.
Uh-huh.
He wins the leverage battle for the most part. And and I feel like he's strong as hell, Bryan.
Yeah.
He has a really good first step coming off the line of scrimmage. And I feel like in the run blocks, some of my favorite blocks of his are his outside zone blocks, Bryan.
Yeah.
I think he can reach like a big dog, sir.
Yeah.
But even if he has to square up in zone block versus somebody, like base block versus somebody.
Yeah.
I've seen him get some movement getting base blocks off on people.
Yeah.
I think when he pulls out in space, I think he moves really well, Bryan. I think in his pass sets, he picks up gap exchanges really well. A very, very heads up guy. He understands the leverage of the gap exchange. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't get too far in front of his partner that he's exchanging with. I think in pass sets, he has a really good right hand strike.
He sure does.
Like, he'll strike with that right hand, and that makes me feel good about him playing center because he'll snap and get that hand right back up. But But he fires that hand from the hip really high, Bryan, and he lands every single time, and it stuns his opponent. He ain't got a bunch of length to where he's keeping people off of him. He ain't that guy. But he's a face mask in the chest type guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's a quick set type guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he'll get that strike in there. He'll rumble, Bryan. I think sometimes he lost his balance, and he'll kind of fall forward a little bit. I think sometimes I saw him get his arms wrapped around guys. Sometimes, like, he'll get a little hug going. I did see a bunch of flags for that, though. And it might be because he's face mask in your chest guy, possibly.
Yeah.
I was really, really shocked at his athletic ability, Bryan, because it ain't like he got long legs to, like, stride real long. He got small, choppy feet. But them choppy feet, they work well. I don't think he was as powerful as some of our other powerful guys, you know, like our Milams and our Ratledges and our Bookers or whatever. But I did think he was solid enough to not get penetrated backwards, pause or whatever. But he was strong enough to stalemate or get a little movement, but not to dominate in that kind of way.
Yeah.
I put him in the fourth, Bryan. I have him because I just value powerful guys. Pardon me. I got him in the third. Pardon me. I apologize. I got him in the third. I got him over Belton and Jonah from Zona. but I got him behind Milam and Ratledge simply because I think Milam and Ratledge, the size and power combination will like take them farther or whatever. But I got Lampkin right behind them because I think he's right up under them in terms of power, but he's more athletic than both of them, right? Yeah. So if you're a team that needs some athletic guards or an athletic center, they'll probably go Lampkin over Milam and Ratledge.
Yeah.
But if you want the powerful guy, they'll probably go those guys. Go ahead, Bryan. What you got to say about Willie Lampkin?
No, I think you did a great job, my friend, of kind of painting the picture on this kid. I've never seen one like him. I haven't. Been hanging out doing this like since 1992. I can't remember. I was trying to go through names and think about that and ask my buddies who scouted in the league a long time. And, you heard the response that some of them had about him as a player. This kid, when you read him, when you look at his history, he was a transfer from Coastal Carolina. So this kid's made 61 starts in his career. He's made 26 of them at left guard. He's made 21 of them at right guard, 14 at center. This kid was an undefeated Florida State championship wrestler. I think he was 47-0.
First round pick right there, then, Bryan.
That's if he's a championship wrestler or from Belglade, Florida, I got to draft this kid. Yep. But this kid's a 5-year starter. He is an outstanding player despite his lack of height and bulk. He does have the rare ability to play with leverage and strength, and I do think his contact balance is good. I think the athletic ability to be close in that space between him, to be able to close that space between himself and the defender, I think that just is really, really good because he kind of climbs these guys. He has to. He's got no choice. He can't extend on them, so he has to almost go
face mask in the chest. Face mask in the chest, and then
he's got the footwork, the hand use, and they work well together. And he gets his hands inside. You mentioned there were a couple of times where but he could be really sticky as a run blocker. I don't think I've seen anyone who stays connected to his man like this guy.
That's fair.
The strain to finish the blocks, it's super impressive. And he could hold the point of attack with double teams and stuff and get movement on defenders larger than him. I said earlier, I thought this guy might be kind of like a Mark Stepnowski from the early 90 Cowboys team because of his, Stepnowski was a 265-pound guy. But there is not a lot of history to work off here for a player comp.
Yeah.
So I was just like say, I was trying to reach out to my scouts. He is a shorter guy. You can see it. He's 5'10", he's 270, 275. I mean, you could see that. I have him at center.
Yep.
I have him at center in the 4th round is where I've got him. And so am I maybe got him around too high? I'm trying to figure that out.
What round you got him?
I got him in the 4th. I got him in the 4th round. Okay. Yeah. As a center. But I just don't have a lot of history. But you got to give the kid his due for how he plays.
Yep.
You watch him play, and when Hampton, the back is running the ball, they're running the ball behind him. He's the right guard, and then boom, they're running the ball right behind him. And it's like Hampton's making a cut, and the next thing you know, Hampton's off to the race. We got Hampton in the damn 2nd round.
Yep.
And he's running behind a kid. That maybe says something about Hampton, though, too. He's running behind a 5'10", 270-pound guard.
Yeah.
So that says something about the kid as a blocker. It says something about Hampton maybe as a back. It's the type of kid that like he has these traits. And when my buddy said, listen, find a spot for him. Just find, you always talk about coaching. You always talk about coaching.
Yeah.
But, find a spot. Is this guy an extra lineman? Is he a fullback? Is he is he a legit center? Is he a legit guard? There's this kid he's had to kind of fight his whole career because of the lack of his measurables. But the fact this kid was a state championship wrestler, and you talk about leverage and balance and strength and core strength and stuff, and being that heavyweight wrestler, I ain't gonna bury this kid in the 7th round and say, oh, let somebody else take him. I mean, he's going to be one of those guys we get to day 3. It's like, well, who are some of the best players you have on the board?
Sure.
He's going to be one of the names that you're going to be mentioning.
Bryan, Lampkin or Chris Paul, the linebacker from Ole Miss?
Yeah. I think to me, because I think I would go Paul there.
Bryan,
I think I would. Yeah.
Lampkin or Torrey Horton, Colorado State wide receiver?
I would go Lampkin here.
Lampkin or Ransom, the safety?
Safety.
Yeah.
I would probably go Lampkin over Ransom because I like Sanker and Castro better than I like Ransom.
Okay.
The other safeties.
One more, Bryan. What about Lampkin versus Arroyo, the tight end from Miami?
Yeah. Okay. Arroyo, you've totally dissected my board.
Yeah.
Because that's everybody you mentioned with the exception of Horton. I've got in that 4th round.
Yeah.
When you start to talk about Paul, Ransom, Arroyo, Horton in the 5th.
Sure.
I think I would take Lampkin here.
Landon Jackson, Arkansas, the edge.
I think I would take. Here's another 4th round guy.
Yeah.
I would probably see. I've got Ivy because we're going to talk about a kid, Powell Ryland, hyphenated name from Virginia Tech.
Sure.
We're going to talk about this UCLA kid. I've got Jackson kind of down that list.
Okay.
I think I'm going Lampkin in a lot of. I think I'm going to Lampkin over a lot of people, with maybe the exception of Paul, the linebacker.
So Lampkin's a high 4 for you. Let me just ask you 2 more, Bryan. What about Lampkin or Bo from Purdue? Marcus Bo.
I got Bo higher. Now see, I've got Bo as a guard. Excuse me, as a center. So like I don't have many centers. So what happens is I've got these undersized guards, like Bo, 3rd round center, Lampkin, 4th round center.
Correct.
Now they should probably should be in the same mix. I think you have a little bit more bulk with Bo. Is it kind of a projection? Sure.
Yeah.
But I've got those undersized guys, 3rd round, 4th round. So I'd take Bo over him.
Two more. What about Lampkin versus Jordan Phillips, the tackle from Maryland?
Okay, so we got West, Phillips, Collins in that group. Those are those one technique guys.
Yep.
I like Jordan Phillips. I think I would have to take Jordan Phillips there.
Okay. So what I'm trying to see is how high up the 4s and how low down the 3s he is. So he's never
gonna be in a 3 for me.
Gotcha.
I don't think.
Gotcha.
He's gonna always be. You did a really good job, as I said, of dissecting my board in the 4th round.
Yeah.
It's going to be when I stack. It's going to be just what you just did. It's that exercise of, and I think that to me, probably going to have, if I had to grade on a Cowboys scale. Remember, I told you don't worry about the 1. 4 will tell you the round, and then go 0 to 9.
Yeah.
I think he's probably in that 1, 4, 5 range for me, probably in the middle of the 4th round.
Middle of the 4th.
And I'll have to see where my 140s, 141, 142, 143, 144 is. I'll have to see who those guys are. But I think the way I look at it, I've kind of got him in the middle of that 4th round.
Okay, he's like a 139 then for me, if that makes sense. Then I guess
if he's okay, then you just explained to me, like if you told me I got him as a 139, you're telling me he's the last player in the 3rd round for you.
He's the last of my 3rd guys for sure.
There you go. Okay. There you go. You totally painted the picture for me.
Okay.
So now you and I kind of have an understanding. If you say, Bryan, I've got him as a 1-2-5 or a 1-2-3. I now know where you got these guys in relation to that.
Okay. Ignore 1. Second is the round. Third number is where they at in the round. Okay.
If you want to kind of judge, if somebody asks you where do you have him, and you want to say it the way the Cowboys do, say the number one, give me the round, and then go up or down on the round, and I'll know exactly where you have that player on your board.
That's interesting. I should learn that language a little bit. That and
you got
how y'all
do,
no,
you know,
how y'all do height,
you know.
Height and weight and all that kind of stuff. I need to learn that height trick y'all
do. The 3/8 is thing. I always kind of round up on that stuff too. If a guy is 6'03", that's 6'3", and then the last number is the fourth number is the eighths.
Yeah.
So if it's over 5, I usually round if it's 6'036", he's 6'4" to me is what he is.
Gotcha. You're gonna learn. Bryan. My favorite player out of this group though.
Yeah.
Oluwafemi Oladejo from UCLA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me tell you what I like about him the most, Bryan.
Okay.
My favorite kind of players. You hate when we talk like this, but floor and ceiling guy, right?
Of course.
I love when you're good right now, but I can see where you got room to grow. I can tangibly see where you have room to go, but you tearing it up right now. Bryan, the first thing I thought when I saw this kid, I was like, damn, he's intense. This dude plays with a little bit of intensity, Bryan.
He sure does. Yeah.
I noticed the length right off the bat. I noticed he has some pretty good size right off the bat. I don't know exactly what those numbers are. I just go based on what I see, Bryan. They line him up on that outside, man, with them long socks he be having on.
He's 6'3", 261.
Sometimes he's in a stance, but most of the time he's 2-point, standing up.
Right.
And Bryan, what I really noticed, because sometimes players fall into these archetypes. I thought he was going to be like a bendy pass rushy type dude, and sometimes he is, but he's really good in the run, Bryan. He's really good versus the run. Bryan, I saw him disrupt in the run game. You know what I'm saying? Like, not just play my role here, not just I'm going to contain. Like, I see him smacking blockers, going to make the play. I see him punishing pullers, going to make the play. I see him stacking and extending on some tight end or something, because there's a lot of tight ends over there where he's at, getting rid of the tight ends and going to go make the plays in the run game. If they're running outside zone at him, he's athletic enough to run his ass out there and deal with that outside zone stuff. And if they ran right at him, I was surprised at his ability to hunker down, whether it's a tackle or a tight end, whoever it is, to hunker down and play the run. I say, damn, Oluwafemi. And then I saw some of his pass rush reps, right? I do think he's a run down the middle you got. Yeah. But it was one of these games I was watching, Bryan, where he just tried the hop step like 3 times in a row. He did the hop skip slap like 3 times in a row. Like,
he was triple jumper. He's like the triple jumper.
He's trying to figure it all out. I forgot which game it was I was watching, but he tried like 3 times in a row. And I was like, all right, I see you trying to figure this out on the go. He doesn't have a bunch of pass rush moves.
Yeah.
He doesn't have this big pass rush, like he doesn't have a counter.
Repertoire.
Yeah. I don't even think he rushes with that much of a plan, Bryan, but he feels the rush though. You know what I'm saying? So if you're base blocking on him, he'll try to work to the outside if you take his inside, right? So in my mind, hey, coaching, I think with his length and I think with his athletic ability, and I think his natural instincts and intensity or whatever, I think you can teach him pass rush moves. You can teach him how to have a plan when he's rushing. But as of now, he's a run down the middle, you still get pressure kind of guy though, which is cool. But I think he has a really high upside, Bryan. I got him in the 4th though. I got him. Let me just say this too. Yeah. I got him in the 4th under Tua Malau and under Roberts from SMU. But I got him above Jackson and Josiah Stewart and Nick Scorton. I like them more than Nick Scorton. Scorton keeps dropping. but go ahead though, bro. What you got for Oladejo?
Poor Nick Scorton is going to just complete.
Make a play. Make a play, Nick Scorton.
I cannot wait till he's selected. And then
he's a fucking Pro Bowler.
And you just start working on the next player.
He's a pro. I know, Brad. Go ahead. What you got for him? Oluwafemi. Oladejo.
Yeah, I tell you what, he is. I think you nailed the player, and he's a transfer from Cal, So he's a kid that went to a school that like I wish I could have got into, but I couldn't make that. But anyway, Cal, and then he was a linebacker that was moved to defensive end.
Mm.
And I think he's really well built for the position. The measurements of 6'3", 261. He's got athletic ability as a player, like you talked about. He's got the length. He's got pop in his hands. He does a really great job of extending those hands and kind of getting into the chest of the blocker with him. I think I think he had good pass rush moves for a guy who hasn't played the position very long.
Mm.
I think that's something and you're talking about coaching. I think the learning curve is like him getting better as a pass rusher. But you're
Sure.
right. When it's kind of a basic stuff, it's that cross chop,
Yeah.
break the blocker's hands down. But he does have some leverage as a pass rusher because of the length
Mhm.
that he plays. He appears to have really some decent quickness off the snap. I think he can rush with the hand down. I think he's talked about the 2-point stance stuff. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
There is some power to his game. I've seen him kind of move around as a rusher. He can play on the edge and then line up inside, like as that mug linebacker playing, inside like the A gap, B gap kind of a player. They use him in the twist. They use him as a looper. He's a good tackler. He's got some violence to his game. He really does. He's a physical finisher. He plays with a burst. He's got some speed to get those ball carriers down from the backside. He really can cover some ground when you watch him run. I thought he might be best suited to play as that off-ball linebacker and
Sure.
maybe a situational rusher.
Mhm.
But I think I'm going to leave him here as the edge. You could tell watching him play that he loves to play the game.
Yeah.
He loves to play. He loves to play football.
He's
And
flying around the field, Bryan. Yeah.
I love that about a kid like this. I love that.
Yeah.
I asked some people about him. I have heard nothing but positive things about him as a character.
Mm.
I mean, it's all good. So here's a guy that hasn't played edge very much, probably needs to learn some pass rush stuff, kind of goes down the middle, really doesn't have a plan yet. But man, I mean, the tools, the size, the desire, all those things are there. I totally agree with you on the 4th round grade on this kid.
Yeah.
I think, when you start to talk about, I look at him. I mentioned on Friday we're going to talk about a young man from Virginia Tech with Antoine Powell Ryland.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got Ivy, Powell Ryland, this guy. I've kind of got them all in that top of that third. If you ask me a grade for him, I would say I probably got him as a 1.43.
Sure.
Is what I would say. He's probably the top end of a maybe a 1.42, top end of the 4th round as I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah. Where do you have him versus let me see, Bryan. Let me see. So what's your since we just learned something, what's your round placement number? He's a what? He's a 1.4 what for you?
I think he's a 1.43. Like I say, I think that Ivy would be a 1.40. Powell Ryland, hyphenated name. I think he's like a 1.41. And this kid might be either a 1.42, 1.43, right around there for me. So I'm looking at him like I say, in the top of that 4th round when it comes to the edges.
Yeah. I don't hate that. I'm right there with you. The only player in the 4th I have over him is JT Tuamalau, and I just put JT in the 4th because we got a lot of edges, Bryan.
To be honest with you, Voch, I need to stop watching edges. I can't. I mean, now
we got 3
as
more.
far as I've got them down. I got that thing stretching. I mean, that thing will stretch, and I'm sure they're all going to go. But I mean, every time it's like, hey, Bryan, let's watch another edge
because they good. They hit. They hit,
and they're good, and they're good, and you're going to have to. And we're going to talk about another kid. This kid from Boise is a good player, and you mentioned about I mentioned about Powell Ryland, and he's a guy. Jones from LSU. We're about to watch. We've added another guy, a couple of LSU guys. So it's a deep group, and it's the bendies and the non-bendies. But like you got to give these kids their due. They're a lot of good players.
these might be the last of our edges in general because I just looked at the paper, Bryan, and I don't know if I want to go too deep into them in February right now.
Yeah.
But we definitely have some guys.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell me bad things about Ahmad Hassanin, and give me the handful of good things you like about him and why he's a 5th round.
I cannot say a lot of bad things about Hassanin. I really can't.
Okay.
And and his background is really, really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If you dive into it, this guy has not played much football at all. I mean, he came to Boise State. He basically played 1 year of high school football. He was born in the U.S., but he grew up in Cairo, Egypt. So he's this kid, and I was reading about him, and he one time he had a 9-game sack streak. For Boise in 2023.
Yeah,
and that was the longest stretch by an FBS player since 2015. So he had 9 straight games where he had registered a sack. He plays in a really funny stance that I don't think helps him all that much.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs to be kind of stretched out more and allow him to really get going. He plays kind of compact. His feet are real together, real close, and he's kind of squished up in there. And if he was a little bit longer in his stance, I think he might be able to get even more of that, more burst. So something that I just noticed, I think it would help his quickness, but he's got raw power.
Yeah.
I mean, he could drive blockers back in the quarterback. His instincts are good at times. And there's other times where the ball goes right by him and you wonder, is this just not playing a lot of football? But he's played. I mean, he's played here at Boise. So, but you like to think that maybe the awareness is, something that can be looked at here. But, like I say, with the instincts, he's relentless. He runs hot a lot and through the whistle. He makes all kinds of hustle plays. I was watching the UNLV game. He gets blocked again, and then now he's downfield making a tackle, so he could be out of position, and all of a sudden he's right there to make a tackle. He's got some bend for the position. He could be an edge setter with his power. He can be physical at the point of attack. He's got some discipline for the position. He's just going to need to execute his assignments a little bit better on some of the stuff. He'll fight with his hands, but he's going to need to develop some more pass rush techniques as well. I kind of feel like he needs to play in a 4-3 where he could just go get after the ball.
Sure.
Just go. Yeah. Just get after the ball. He plays in a rotating system with likely, if playing in a rotating system would likely help his development, I think at the next level. He's a very smart player in the classroom. He's an all academic kind of a guy. He works really hard in all phases of his life. He's got a fascinating story, type of kid you just probably would not bet against. But I put him, I think because of some of the football stuff, I put him down in that 5th round. Yeah. I've got him down there with the likes of Barron and Rucker and him. That's kind of like I just cannot get him into the 4th round with the guys I have. I tried and I can't do that. So I'm going to put him there in the 5th round. I'm sure he'll probably go higher than that. His story, as I mentioned, is tremendous. His effort is tremendous, his desire, but he just has not played a lot of football. Yeah. And he's got to be in a system where he could be in the rotated, where it's not all him, but he can learn along the way, and he surely can improve on that.
Yeah, Bryan, I don't do well with the run down the middle of you guys,
No, that's
like you said, he does have a lot of sacks though. Like he racks them joints up.
It's about getting to the ball. It's about pushing dudes aside and getting to the ball. And there's something to that. There's absolutely something to that. Yeah.
That's how he does it. Also too, Bryan, sometimes he lines up in B gap. I think this is the 1 year where I've seen the most edges line up in B gap. Like it's such a common thing now.
I think they're trying to probably push the pocket with him, with some of the going against some of the guards and stuff like that he was going against. So,
but cool player. He looks like he hadn't played a bunch of football. And that's just where I kind of put guys that look that way. He looks like Barron, and he looks like some of those other guys like there.
Yeah, no, that's kind of where I got him right now.
Yeah.
for sure.
I got him in the fifth also, Bryan. So hey, man, interesting group of guys, but I'm still loving the fact that we're way down here. I'm 122 players in, and I love that I'm still finding players that I like. That I like.
No, the minute you start seeing players that you just don't want to put on your board, then I mean, you try and get to a certain level. I've always tried to get to about 200 players because even if I didn't put some of them on my board, I just wanted to know who they were. Because you can't. I mean, we've had the great fortune of working with a guy like Dane Brugler who will cover for you on day 3.
He'll tell us. Yeah.
I feel like it's a credit to the show when in the 7th round, if somebody gets drafted, you can give somebody a report about a 7th round player. Yeah. I think there's something to that. And so we'll keep working. You and I are about the same numbers. I think I'm at 125 is where I'm at right now. So keep going.
Well, we need to watch some more edges then, Bryan. You know what I'm saying? So we can be ready.
I ain't watching any more damn edges.
So we can be ready on day 3.
We need to find some damn linebackers is really what we need to do.
Edges we got? We got 24 edges, Bryan. We got and we got a couple more. So we'll end up around 26.
Think about that. You talk about doing 125 players and 24 of them are edges.
Well, Bryan, this is the problem. How PFF laid it out, they put the bad guys early. You know what I'm saying? Like they made us watch Gelati. Yeah. Well, I don't want to say bad guys, but they made us watch Rucker, Gelati, and Barron before they made us watch Roberts and some of these other guys, bro. So that's
Robert does he's a good player. Yeah. I mean, he's going to help somebody. There's no question. But I think that to me, it's going to be about time to start fanning out and hitting some of these linebackers and trying to kind of get a gauge on them. Because if I don't see any more linebackers, and it's funny how we've waited this long. If you follow the list of the PFFs and others, it's taken us to 120 something where we're starting to now not even look at linebackers.
Yeah, for sure.
Where are these linebackers? These linebackers somewhere, are they in the 150s? Yeah. Where are these linebackers?
On our next week's list then, Bryan, we're going to look at some linebackers, maybe some more tight ends, and I'll see if I can find some more receivers and offensive linemen for us to watch.
Yeah, I think that the thing with the centers, I appreciate you doing that. I've had to move a couple of guys, but need to really kind of dig in on these linebackers. I'd like to have a better understanding. And I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to spend Sunday, Voch, if I have a moment, which I think I will, a couple hours. I think I'm going to look at these quarterbacks.
Oh, I ain't doing that till April. You're on your own with that. I'm doing that April 23rd, April 22nd, April 22nd, 2 days before the draft. That's when I'll watch quarterbacks, but I'm looking at my linebacker list. I will have about 7 linebackers for you next week, Bryan. So we'll do that.
I'll tell you what, a couple of shows on linebackers wouldn't be a bad thing because right now I'm interested in spending some free agent money, some of the extra money that Jerry got today with the cap. Go get one of those linebackers too. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Go get some of those guys.
So we'll do it. But y'all, tomorrow we're going to do a Q&A, okay? So be on the lookout. I'm going to be putting posts on my Twitters and my YouTube machine, so y'all can put your questions there, or you can put your questions in this comment section right here, and we'll be answering those tomorrow. And we got 4 more players on Friday. Please, sir.
And I've got a exercise for you that was presented to me, and I'm very interested to see how your response would be. And look forward to working with you on the draft show in the morning, bro.
I am covering my first shift. Zach, no call, no shows, so I'm gonna hop in on my first covered shift on the draft.
I immediately went to you. I said, get me Mariano Rivera in here. I need a closer. I need a closer.
What is that? What is that? A soccer or something? Was that
Mariano Rivera, the Yankee pitcher? The Yankee pitcher. They play, you never like the Sandman. You never heard about that?
I got football, sir. Football is my sport.
Yeah,
and maybe some fighting, man.
Wait till I take you and the lady to a basketball game. You'll love going to a Dallas Maverick basketball game with me.
Well, shit, they just sent old boy to the what's the name? So
hey, man, you'll love this team. You'll still love this team. Trust me, the game's fun. I tell you, I got to get you to hockey. Hockey would be fun for you.
Basketball is fine.
Hockey. You'll like hockey. Hockey's fun.
Basketball first, and then we'll experiment with some hockey stuff. VOCHLOMBARDI. Y'all tap in with BRY getting Broaddus. Shake my hand, sir. Appreciate you. And
Appreciate you, man.
we'll catch y'all next time. We love y'all two pieces. Crown.